Hi everyone, it's Paul from This Design Now. Today we're going to be reviewing the xTool Air Purifier for the F1 laser engraver. If you do any laser engraving, you should seriously consider the health implications of not exhausting the air or cleaning the air. I've mentioned it a few times in videos in that you really do need to worry about doing this indoors, especially if you've got an open frame machine. Luckily, the xTool F1 it is enclosed. It's a little bit easier to kind of exhaust those fumes. But I see it time and time again with companies. They promote this open frame laser engraver and you've got people just using it in their kitchen, for instance. That is just completely unrealistic. It's somewhat dangerous to kind of promote a product like that because the fumes that these laser engravers produce when they're cutting various different materials are really not good for you. So some sort of air extraction or air purifier should really be considered as a necessary purchase if you are getting into laser engraving.
And I just want to take a few seconds to thank the sponsor of this channel, PCBWay. They offer services for all types of makers from PCB, CNC, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and even injection molding. What's more is that most of these services are available with fast worldwide shipping. And it's not too late to redeem one of their many discount coupons available this Christmas. But be quick as they are first come, first served. Head over to PCBWay.com today.
Now the xTool Air Purifier for the F1, it does communicate with it so you can control the air purifier via the F1. When it starts and stops a job, it will turn on and off the air purifier. But you can still use this air purifier in manual mode. So it will work with other machines. And I've been using this air purifier in manual mode with my other machines. Ones that are open frame that I use with my enclosure, I've got an AC Infinity extractor fan hooked up, and then I've 3D printed a port which will connect to the xTool Air Purifier. This is a 63mm port, so I've just 3D printed a reduction connector here so I can plug it in. So what I do is I go from the laser enclosure, the air is being sucked out via the AC Infinity. It is then being exhausted into the air purifier, which then I exhaust out of the window. And for me, it just offers another extra layer of cleaning the air because, you might have neighbors that have got windows open, for instance. I don't really want this kind of just blowing out into the atmosphere. I'd rather clean it as much as possible before it actually gets anywhere. Let's talk about unboxing. It was very simple and easy. It comes very well packaged as you'd expect from xTool. We've got the nice foam inserts which will keep it nice and secure during transportation. Very simple to set up. You literally just pull it out of the box, you put on the filter and then you plug it in, and that is literally it. Let's just talk a little bit about the air filter itself. So it's got 3 different layers to it. You've got the pre-filter cloth, and then you've got a true HEPA filter with double layer, and then you've got activated carbon filter as well. So the pre-filter can be replaced every single 7 to 14 days of it being used. And that's not replacing with a new one. That is, you can just clean it. If you just get a vacuum cleaner, for instance, you'll just suck up all of the dust. When you open up the filter, you will see that it is a little bit dirty. Once it gets to the point where when you're cleaning it, it is still dirty, there's a lot of debris stuck in the matting, that's probably when it needs to be replaced. The HEPA filter should be replaced in about 3 to 6 months. These are all just estimates from xTool. They say if you see smoke being exhausted out of the pipe, then that is a sign that it's obviously not being trapped in the HEPA filter anymore. And the activated carbon, obviously when you start to smell more fumes, and also I think when suction as well is reduced, when you can hear maybe the motor straining a little bit more, that's when it needs to be replaced. The filter itself, it is just in a cardboard box essentially, and you would just have to replace that entire thing, which is a little bit annoying because obviously your HEPA filter might go before your activated carbon, for instance. I use activated charcoal pellets in my Nevermore for my 3D printer. It's just a nice thing that you can just slide open, chuck them away, and you can just fill it up with more, and you can obviously buy the pellets in bulk bags, which works out a bit cheaper. It would be nice if there was maybe something that could be done to kind of replace it like that, but for now it is just literally a filter that you buy for the entire thing. It is currently about £110, so that can be seen as quite an expensive consumable, but for me personally, I think if you are doing laser engraving, you should care about your health, you should care about the things that you're breathing in, and this is, as I said, it should really be seen as a necessity to this hobby. So it's just one of those things, it is a consumable that you're just gonna have to bear the brunt of. I don't really know another way of getting around this way of cleaning your air. Obviously there are other air purifiers out there, there are DIY methods that you can use, but I'm guessing if you're someone that is probably looking at the xTool F1, you most likely using this in probably a business setting, and you probably just want something that just works. And the xTool F1 does that very, very well. And I would say that, you know, this air purifier as well, it's just one of those things that you just pay the price for, but when you're using it and you see the results that you get from it, it's just one less hassle that you have to go through. And I think that if I was using this in a business setting and it was just £100 every single maybe 3 to 6 months, I could probably bear with that. To talk about noise of the machine, honestly, the xTool F1 is louder than the top fan setting that I've used here. It's got that low fan extractor hum to it, whereas the fan in the xTool F1, it's more of a higher pitch. To me, when I'm using both of them, a few times I've actually had to look at it and double check that it is actually on, because the fan in the F1 is much, much louder. There are 3 fan settings, and I'll just show you them now just so you've got an idea of what they sound like. This is me sitting right next to it. So that's low. I mean, I could have that on all day and that probably would not annoy me. This is medium. And this is high. Again, the fan in the xTool F1 is a much higher pitch, so it's not a problem for me. Lastly, let's talk about what it actually does to the fumes and the air quality. I've bought an air monitor here. This is not a cheap one. This cost me about £120. It's probably one of the best ones that I could get on Amazon. Now, this is not calibrated out of a lab. If you want something like that, it's going to cost you thousands. So I'm not sure how much I can trust these numbers. I'm not really too concerned about the actual specific PM 2.5 and PM 10 numbers. I'm really interested in just difference that this is able to pick up. So you can see that when I've got the xTool F1, I'm laser engraving some paper here. You can see that with the air purifier off, you can see how quickly the air in this room spikes to being very, very unhealthy. And I was having a mask on while I was in this room and doing this test because I did not want to be breathing it in. But I did take off my mask very quickly and the room stunk of burnt paper. Now the air score with the air purifier on was, as you can see, very much different. It did a very good job of extracting and cleaning the air. I could still smell a tiny bit of burnt paper in the room. So for me, that would have been a signal that I still should wear a mask. If I can smell it, that means it is going into my body. So for me, it wasn't that, you know, it was completely clean air. But I mean, I was amazed that even when I had the exhaust of the air purifier, usually I have it venting out of the window. I bought the hose in and I put it right over this air monitor and it hardly changed at all. You can see the numbers here. So it definitely works. It does a very good job of cleaning the air, and I think that you can tell just when you are running this thing, just from the smells. And it was actually a bit shocking to see how quickly the air quality spiked to being very, very bad, literally within 10 to 20 seconds of exhausting the fumes. You know, the room was, yeah, I shouldn't have been in here basically without a mask. So let's just go over the pros and cons. I really like the fact that this is automated in some way. You know, one less task that I have to do when I'm working is always going to make me happy. So it's really nice that the F1 and this can communicate and they can just turn on and off. I like the fact that it obviously does do a good job of cleaning the air. And as you can see, they're around about the same size, so they fit nicely as a pair. The cons are obviously the cost of the consumables, as you would expect. I think that, you know, you should just be aware that if you're buying a product into a brand's ecosystem, the consumables are usually going to be the thing. You know, it's like printers, for instance. You buy a printer and it's obviously the carts and the ink that's going to cost you money in the long run. Yeah, it's just the same as this. Again, I would have liked to have seen some maybe modular aspect to the filter, so maybe you can change some things or you can buy things in bulk. Maybe there will be revisions to the filter design in the future, maybe to accommodate those things, I don't know. And the other con that I had was that, you know, even though it is the same kind of size and it pairs nicely with the F1, as I said, it doesn't really have good portability features to it. There is no handle, there are no recess handles to pick it up. It's quite flush with the desk here, so, you know, getting underneath it is quite difficult to pick up. It would have been nice if, you know, like the F1, you've got a nice chunky handle to grab onto. It would be really cool if this also had it, because now I've been using the F1 for a few weeks. I really do love the fact that it is portable. It's got, you know, just a little thing like a handle. It sounds stupid, just being able to easily pick up things when you're working quickly or you're working in tight spaces. It just makes your life a little bit easier. So there's just one last thing that I want to talk about, and it is actually with the F1. I recently installed the update for the xTool Creative Space, and they've got a really nice feature that they've added to this, and it's the fact that you now get real-time framing. It is so cool. As I mentioned in my review of the F1, I really did love the framing feature of the F1, but previously you had to turn on and off framing to reflect the changes that you make in the Creative Space software into the framing. But now you can move things around in the xTool Creative Space software, and it will in real time reflect on the outline of the F1. So that was a very nice surprise when I loaded up the Creative Space this week. It's just one of those little things that makes the workflow even better and just quicker to do things when you're working with the machines, which if you are in a business setting, if you're trying to earn money, time is money. The quicker you get things churned out, the better. So I hope you found this review useful. If you've got any questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all later.